2022 was a mixed year for historical TV shows and historical movies, with some excellent historical TV shows like Rise of Empire Season 2 and the 5th season of The Last Kingdom getting released to worldwide acclaim. But 2022 also had more than its fair share of lackluster and underwhelming historical content, which I had high hopes for, but they were just huge letdowns. And this list will give you my 5 biggest historical letdowns for 2022. But before we begin, don't forget, if you love anything to do with historical TV shows or historical movies, then subscribe to my channel, History Spark. And there's also a special affiliate link in the description below, which will give you a 10% discount at Entertainment Earth. At number 5, it is Cyrano, a historical drama movie about a man who employs the services of Cyrano de Bargare, a master wordsmith, to get him to write love letters to Roxanne, the love of his life. This was a very boring movie overall, and it was made even worse by the fact that it was a musical, which was not very evident from the trailers, and it was just poorly executed in every aspect. The storyline was boring and pretty cliche, and woke elements dragged the movie down even further, and even Peter Dinklage was a letdown here, with his acting not able to save this film. Cyrano was a movie I didn't have necessarily high hopes for, but this was just a train wreck in every way that I just couldn't imagine. And it's no surprise that this movie only grossed $6 million at the box office. And at number 4, it is The Woman King, which was hoping to capitalize on the fame of Viola Davis to create a historical movie around a group of strong black women warriors called the Agoge from the African kingdom of Dahomey. This movie does a decent job of establishing the society and culture of the Dahomey kingdom, and after a strong start to the film, the story quickly falls apart with literally nothing of substance happening for most of the film's middle, and the story just moves from event to event without any explanation or reason. However, my biggest gripe with this film though is how brutally the movie has changed history to make the Agoge warrior women look like brave, fierce warriors who protected their people from enslavement and the brutality of the white man. But the problem is the Dahomey kingdom and the Agoge in particular were some of the biggest enslavers of other African communities and actually sold thousands of Africans into slavery and for profit. So I don't mind historical inaccuracies, but we can't call a movie historical and rewrite all the facts of history to make the enslavers look like the enslaved. And that is why The Woman King was such a huge letdown for me. At number 3, it is Samrat Prithvi Raj, the worst historical Bollywood movie I have seen in recent memory. It is a failure in all aspects of cinematography, acting, storyline, progression, and any kind of character development. The movie is based around the life of Prithvi Raj Chauhan, a Rajput king who ruled during the Chamana dynasty from 1177 to 1192. And this movie does not follow the basic outline or his personal characteristics at all. And about halfway through the film, it just becomes a movie about women's empowerment, which is just not historically relevant for that time period. And the icing on the cake is that they had the antagonist of the film, Muhammad Ghori, die at the hands of Samrat Prithvi Raj in a terrible, over-the-top manner, and it is just ridiculous because Muhammad Ghori actually lived for another 10 years after the death of Prithvi Raj. So if you want to see all the worst aspects of Bollywood in one film, then watch Samrat Prithvi Raj, but for everyone else, I would recommend you just give it a miss. And the second biggest historical travesty of 2022 goes to Barbarian Season 2, which butchered all the good things about Barbarian Season 1, and it just turned it into a woke, appeasing, politically correct, infected TV show. Literally every modern element of wokeism has been forced into this show. Gay relationships between important historical figures that never even met each other, a strong black female warrior who has been wronged by the whites and is out for revenge because Germanicus killed her dad over 100 years ago in Carthage. The list is just never ending, and outside of these criticisms I've already mentioned, the plot is terribly paced, it is unengaging, and it makes the Romans look like the dumbest army in world history rather than one of the most dominant forces. Last year I recommended Barbarians as one of the best shows currently out on Netflix, and unfortunately after season 2 I would say it's arguably one of the worst historical shows on Netflix that you can watch. And the top spot for the biggest dud of 2022 goes to Vikings Valhalla, the lackluster sequel to the epic Vikings TV series. Before the show even came out, I made a video which you can watch here about all the reasons why I think Vikings Valhalla will be a terrible TV show, and I'm sorry to say that I was correct. The PC elements of a Black Jarl Håkon, overpowered female warriors, and just a total disrespect for history or even trying to tell an accurate story made Vikings Valhalla one of the biggest letdowns in historical TV show history. There's only 10 episodes and even that feels never ending. The story makes no sense with events occurring without any explanation or build up. The acting is terrible by pretty much everyone involved, especially the 3 primary characters. I have very low expectations for season 2 at this point, which is coming out early this year, and if it keeps this level of poor quality, I think I will stop watching the show after 2 or 3 episodes, as it is just not worth my time. But that's my view of the 5 worst historical TV shows and movies of 2022. Let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree with my selection, and don't forget, if you love anything to do with historical TV shows or historical movies, then subscribe to my channel, History Spark.